Now we're going to talk briefly about age discrimination. Okay, we have a Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1967. So that came along 3 years after Title VII. And it said no discriminating basically against people because they're older. So the federal age discrimination law gives no protection to young people. Sorry, folks. It only protects people that are over the age of 40 years old. So we have protection against discrimination in employment against people that are over 40 years old. And the law, because it's a federal law, it only applies to companies that have 20 or more employees, and of course the business must impact interstate commerce or the federal government cannot regulate it. An interesting side note about the age discrimination law is that the 11th Amendment exempts state employees from this age discrimination law, and so state employees, they do not have to follow the age discrimination laws, and they can discriminate against you for being old. Now, if you think that's kind of funny and you don't care because you're young and you know you're going to be young forever, I didn't pay much attention to the age discrimination law either. I'm an attorney and self-employed, so I don't worry about not getting employment because I'm older. But I turned 70 this last year, and a friend of mine who's 70, who's one of the most brilliant lawyers and greatest friends that I've ever known, he got offered, he did a really great job in a federal lawsuit in another state actually, and they came to them and they said, we have a federal court commissioner position open, the pay is amazing, why don't you apply for that? We would like to have you here as a federal court commissioner. So he got on the internet to begin the application process, and he found out that the federal government does not permit any judges to go onto the bench when they're over the age of 70 or 70 and a half, something like that. And so he couldn't qualify for the job. So that's a situation where one of the finest lawyers in the country and the best men in the country can't get onto the federal bench as a judge because of his age. I found that to be a bit upsetting. But even before that, I had a young man in the class, young to me, a man in the class a few semesters ago, and he said, look, I'm a police officer, and I'm one of the best police officers you'll ever meet. And he says, my lifelong dream has been to take the admission test and become an FBI agent. And he says, now that I'm 35, I am banned from ever doing that. You can't qualify or you can't apply for employment with the FBI if you're over the age of 35. And so it's just because of a number that's my age, I'm now disqualified from having my lifelong dream. I hope that gives you something to think about with regard to age discrimination. Probably doesn't apply to most of you young people now, but blink and it will.